My name is Jack Turner, and I've learned something about people who think authority can be faked. It works right up until it doesn't. Silver Creek Estates believed in control. Gates, rules, permissions, everything documented, everything approved. At least that's what they told themselves. But real authority doesn't come from a clipboard and a title. It comes from law, and law doesn't care about HOA rules. Karen Whitfield didn't understand that. She believed in something else. Control through assumption, control through confidence, control through people not pushing back. And for a long time that worked for her until it didn't. The first time I noticed her watching my car, it wasn't obvious, just a glance, too long, too focused, parked at the edge of my property near the HOA boundary. Black SUV, nothing unusual, except her interest in it. The next day there was a notice placed on the windshield: unauthorized vehicle, violation of community parking regulations. I read it once, then folded it, put it in my pocket, because I wasn't part of their HOA, and my car was parked on my land. The second notice came with a warning: vehicle subject to enforcement. That word again, enforcement. People like Karen use it when they want to sound official. But sounding official isn't the same as being official. The third day, I saw her approach the vehicle, not casually, direct, purposeful. She looked around once, then reached into her bag, pulled something out, a key, not hers, not mine, something she clearly believed would work. A master key, that's what she called it later. But at that moment, it was just a mistake waiting to happen. She tried the door once, twice, then harder. The handle didn't move. The lock didn't respond, because there is no such thing as a universal key for a vehicle like that. But belief can make people try anyway. I stepped outside, didn't rush, didn't shout, just walked toward her. That won't work, I said. She turned sharply. You can't park here. I looked at the ground, then back at her. This is my property. This vehicle is in violation. It's not. She held up the key. I have authorization. I nodded slowly. No, you don't. That's when everything shifted, because now she wasn't just assuming authority. She was acting on it. And acting without authority has consequences. She didn't stop, didn't step back. Instead, she pulled out her phone and called 911. Yes, I need an officer, she said. There's a non-compliant vehicle and an uncooperative individual. I leaned against the car, silent, because sometimes the fastest way to end something is to let it escalate. The patrol car arrived within 15 minutes, lights flashing as it rolled up near the curb. 2 officers stepped out, calm, professional. Karen walked toward him immediately. He's refusing to comply with HOA enforcement, she said. One of the officers nodded and turned to me. Sir, I spoke evenly. This vehicle is parked on my property. Karen shook her head. This is within community jurisdiction. I reached into the car, opened the door, pulled out a folder because I had expected this. I handed it over. The officer opened it, started reading. Property lines, survey maps, ownership records. His expression stayed neutral at first. Then he flipped another page, then another. Then he looked up. Ma'am, this vehicle is on private property outside HOA control. Karen frowned. That's not correct. He nodded slightly. It is silence. But that wasn't the real moment that came next, because Karen wasn't done. She held up the key again. I have authorization to access vehicles for enforcement. The officer looked at it, then back at her. From who? The HOA. He paused, then spoke more firmly. You cannot access or attempt to access a private vehicle without legal authority. She hesitated for the first time. But that's not permitted. That's when the situation started to shift. Not completely, but enough, because now the authority she thought she had was being questioned. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my ID. Not quickly, not dramatically, just deliberately. I handed it to the officer. He looked at it, then looked again, more carefully this time, because now he was seeing something Karen never expected. Federal credentials clear, recognized. He handed it back slowly. Understood, sir. Karen's expression changed. What is that? She asked. I looked at her. You called 911, I said calmly. Now we're here. The officer turned to her. Ma'am, there's no violation here. She blinked. What? This is private property, and no laws have been broken. She tried to recover, but he's not following HOA rules. That's not a police matter. And just like that, her control disappeared. Because without enforcement, her authority meant nothing. The officers cleared the scene shortly after. No citation, no warning, just gone. But the situation didn't end there, because actions leave records and records get reviewed. The attempted vehicle access, the false report, the misuse of authority, all documented, all submitted. The HOA couldn't ignore it because this wasn't internal anymore. This was external, and external problems don't stay contained. The board called an emergency meeting. Residents confused, questions everywhere. Karen trying to hold control, but control doesn't survive facts. She stepped down within weeks. No announcement, no explanation, just gone. Same pattern, different mistake. As for the car, it never moved. Still parked exactly where it was. No more notices, no more attempts, no more assumptions, because sometimes people believe they have power until they meet someone who actually understands it. And when Karen called 911 over a car her master key couldn't open, she thought she was enforcing authority. But what she actually did was bring in someone who could show her exactly how little she had, and once that line was drawn, there was no crossing it. A guy